So we're getting into something a bit different here. Not a lot different, but a little bit different. Make a big square star field. Return a list of 10 items, each one a list of 10 items. So we've got lists of lists, right? Each one of those a string with exactly one star in it, e.g. this. Now we have already come across how to make a single list of 10 stars here. So remember this, we have this pattern of star list and then we're appending a star. So why don't we take that and come back down here and we can reuse that a little bit. So if we paste that in there, that will return one list. So what we might want to think about here is how we would use this, how we would create another layer of the shell in the onion. So if star list is an empty list, then maybe we need another container inside that to make the lists of stars. So let's leave that called star list and then go outside this. So for j in range 10, and j is often used, ij and k are often used as loop variables. It's just the way things are. So outside of that we need star square equals an empty list. So now star square is an empty list, star list is an empty list, and then here, now this lines up with star list, we can say star square dot append star list. Now, so what we're doing here is we're going into this first loop and then the first thing we do when we get into the loop is make a new empty list. And then once we're inside that, once we've made that list, we fill up that list. So we've already covered this bit. This bit of code, we know exactly what it does. And then once we've finished that, we drop back out in the indentation. So by going back 4, we're back into this part of the code. And so we're saying star square, we're going to append star list, which is now full up, to star square. And then we want to return, instead of returning star list, we want to return star square, like that. Now, let's run that. There we go, and there's our little thing of stars. But now, looking at this, because we know that this is code that we already understand, why would we write it twice, right? Nobody wants to write more code than they have to. So if we go back to the original one where we wrote these things, loops 1a, so we can remember that loops 1a makes a list of 10 stars. So we could use that, or maybe more flexibly, we could use loops 1c, because we can tell it how many items and what symbol we want. So let's go here, and here we're making a list, filling it up, and then returning it. So we can actually just get rid of all of that, and then get rid of star list, and put in loops 1c, and then we'll say, let me let my auto completion fill this in for me. Number of items is 10, and the symbol would be star, and that's a much easier bit of code to read, right? So if we run that again, I don't know what this little complaint is. Oh, we're missing a bracket off the end there. That's what it is. So sometimes when you have an error like will show up here, it's because that's when it first hits the thing that's wrong. It's waiting for a bracket, and then at this point it's like, no, this isn't right. So you have to just like run backwards to find the error. So let's run that again, and we can see it gives us exactly the same result. So I think that's a neater way of doing it. Again, you could use the star times 10 and then put that whole thing in brackets and say times 10, but it's a little bit harder to read. So it's a nice little hack if you don't like typing much, but this is a kind of more readable way to do it. And obviously you would name loops 1c, instead of it being a variable name, you would say list of list of symbols or something like that. So it's a much better name for a function. So give that a go.